Ahoj, vítejte u dalšího dílu Startup Talku. Tenhle díl je speciální, jednak tady jsem já, Filip, zakladatel StartupJobs místo Kuby. A jednak tenhle díl jsme natáčeli živě před publikem v rámci TRUESDAYS, kde v rámci panelové diskuze přišlo spoustu skvělých hostů. Báro, který hosti přišli?
Přišel třeba Vráťa z Upliftingu, Lucka Brešová z Grouponu nebo Marek Vašíček z FTMO a se všemi jsme probrali, jak přistupují k firemní kultuře a k tomu, aby ji budovali i při rychlém růstu. A aby toho nebylo málo, tak jsme si celý rozhovor dali v angličtině.
So let's switch to English and enjoy the show.
Before we get to the main topic of our panel, which is company culture, we'd like you, our speakers, to introduce yourselves quickly. If we can start with you, Lucie. If you can describe your role at Groupon, What do you do?
Hi, good evening everyone, and thank you so much for having me. The topic of this evening is very close to my heart because in one of my previous roles I was helping grow Kiwi.com from 10 people to 2,000 over the course of 4 years. So it was a very crazy ride. And now I am in the role of SVP for Groupon operations in Groupon, which is the original American Slevomat operating in 13 countries and undergoing massive transformation. It was at the brink of bankruptcy last year, and we're turning things around. So transformation is another type of change similar to scaling up, so many processes are similar.
Perfect. Can you also tell us how big Groupon is now? How many employees do you have?
Around 3,000 people.
Okay, great. Could you also quickly describe what is so unique about your company culture at Groupon?
At Groupon, it's currently challenging to rebuild the culture. We're a blend of people who have been with the company for over a decade and new joiners like myself. And we're trying to shift from a very corporate mindset where the company got in itself to a more startup approach. It hurts a little bit, but surprisingly, it's actually possible. So we're trying to build a culture of what we call brutal honesty or brutal transparency. So during the transformation, we need to take many unpopular steps. A lot of that encounters also letting people go. So as much as we can be open up front, regardless whether it's about having people to leave or doing difficult changes, we are trying to be very transparent about what's coming, where we are taking the company, what is happening, so that people understand it and can actually get the ratio behind the decision and help us drive it forward.
Perfect. Thank you for the quick introduction. Let's move to your right. To your left, actually. Vráťa, can you tell us what is your role at Uplifting and what do you do?
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Vráťa and I am the founder and frontman of Uplifting. Uplifting is an international software studio that is headquartered here in Prague. We are around 170 people, and what's different from other studios is that we are something that's called a deal company. So we have no managers, only servant leaders. Instead of board, we have a council of elders that is elected from the colleagues, from the group of colleagues. So we are run pretty differently, and that's what helped us scale up to this point, and hopefully also provide very honest and valuable services. And so that's about everything.
Perfect, thank you. Moving to FTMO. Marek, can you tell us also, what do you do? What is your unique culture? How many people works at FTMO right now?
Okay, so once again, hi everyone. My name is Marek. I'm CTO and co-founder of FTMO. Basically what we are doing, we are so-called online prop firm. We are looking for successful traders. They trade online, simulate it, and we give them real rewards. And they are basically living their dream because they can trade, and that's what they want. We found this idea 10 years ago with my co-founder Otakar, because we were traders. We wanted to trade for a living. And we bootstrapped the company to 160 plus people right now. Last year we had 4 billion Czech crown revenues. We've been awarded by Deloitte as the fastest growing company in Central European region, and few other awards, all of it without any major investor. And I've been through all the journey from pretty much starting in 2 or 3 guys to the place where we are right now. And I believe, or hopefully, I will have something to share by this journey, what we actually lived with FTMO.
Okay, can you also describe your company culture as well? What is unique about working at FTMO?
What is unique about FTMO? We are trying to run the company still the way we were, like 5 guys in one room. Mm-hmm. It's quite difficult to do it in 160, but I think one of the main points about the culture, or how can I give some example, is that when we were 3 of us, we started like fist bumps anytime you come into the office and anytime you go home.
So now your fist hurts pretty bad when you go home.
Yeah. When I'm leaving home, I need to go 10 minutes earlier because I'm going around the office.
Okay.
And really till now, it's sometimes quite difficult to go around, but still, I think there's the spirit. And I think this is one of the ways how to actually maintain and grow the culture, even if you are hiring new people, and you need to support it.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. We want to discuss today, like, what does it do with company culture when you grow and when you grow very fast. So maybe I will ask Lucie, because you have like the experience from growing from almost 0 to thousands of people. Are there any like a breakpoints or something when the culture changes and where you need to do something differently?
Yeah, I have observed them at several stages. So obviously when there was like 30 of us, it was like you can sit everyone in one room and everyone knows everything. So keeping everyone up to date is easy. Above 50, you need to start making sure that people are informed. So probably it's a good point to start something like town halls or all hands meetings, just like to make sure that people who don't work with you directly are updated. Then another breaking point, we addressed this here, is around 150 people, where really you don't know already everyone in the company, because below that, as a CEO or founder, you pretty much know everyone because you hired them. Above that number, it's getting difficult to even know everyone by name. And then it was like 300, 800, and above 800, I feel like it doesn't really matter anymore. But it's necessary to really start focusing on processes and standardization of the approaches, because when it's a smaller team, you can have individual approach to different people, individual types of contracts or remuneration and so on. And then you need to start standardizing, like, so that everyone has the bonuses the same, everyone feels that they can go on holiday the same way and so on. So it becomes, and you have in the company people who are not just the core lovers of the what you do, which is still under the 150 quite possible, that like people are enthusiastic, but above that you have people who just go there for the paycheck, and you need to learn to live with that, because like you need them as well, and they become part of the company, but it's a different mindset. Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about people getting to the job for the paycheck, when you join Groupon, it's like completely different story than building company from scratch. How like the people inside Groupon felt about some guys from somewhere in Europe now running their company, and what did it do with the culture?
At the beginning, it was very challenging, especially that the leadership changed a lot. There were several CEOs. The company was gradually declining, so there were many approaches on how to save it. So why are we the ones who will make it work this time? And that's why a very fast and agile mindset had to be introduced, and we were very upfront with it, so that basically we expect people to be on board with the transformation and to come with ideas how to push it forward. And if people are not comfortable with that, it's okay, but their place is not in Groupon.
Thank you. Raja, did you also find some kind of breakpoint in growing uplifting? Or?
Yeah, sure. So for me, the culture is the stuff that happens when the founder or boss is not around, right? The thing is, we don't have bosses, so for us the breakpoint came much sooner. You know, around, let's say, 40 to 50 people, we kind of found that we as founders couldn't be everywhere, and we didn't have and it was very hard to propagate the culture at one point, because, you know, what do you do? Like, how do you propagate the culture? Everybody has some different answer to that. For us, the answer was to write our codex of uplifting and publish it on GitHub, and basically we have this open source codex of our values on how we behave, kind of like a brainware that works even without management, because that's something that we kind of point everyone within the company and outside of the company to, and say, hey, if we are not behave according to these values, you know, let's talk about it, because it's important to keep it in mind. So that was like one hack that helped. But to be completely honest, we are now around 160, 170 people, and it's getting hard again. So we are in the second breaking point, and we tried, for example, tribalization, where we split the company into tribes with, let's say, different founders and everything. But the overhead introduced is pretty big. So I don't think that's like, looking back, splitting the company into smaller companies from 160 people is maybe too early to do it. And yeah, so maybe a lesson learned for us.
Okay, and Marek, you said also you have like 160 people. Are you building tribes, or what are you doing like now at this point?
No, not at all. We're not building tribes. A few years ago, somebody told me that this breakpoint is 100. And we were like 110, 120, and I was like, come on. we don't even have HR, right? Now we are 160 plus, and I feel it. The breakpoint is there. I cannot imagine 800 or 1,000. I'm not there. So I have to admit that this 150, I think this number is correct, or at least I feel it. And it's exactly the thing that, you know, from time to time to the office, our remote guys come, for example, I don't know, from what country around the world. And I'm like, oh my God, who's that? And then, you know, it's Edwin I was hiring 2 years ago, but he's working remotely for 2 years, and I already forgot his face and so on. So it's really changing with every newcomers.
I suppose all three of you aim to have like a friendly environment at your workspaces. How do you balance this friendly approach with the performance pressure or the like when you want to have the highest performance possible? Is it compatible with the friendly approach? Do you agree with that, or are there any differences?
I think it's about setting expectations, so that like you can be friends, you can go hang out in the pub after work, where you most probably will be speaking about work anyway. But it's I say, like in Czech, the saying, the fish stinks from the head. So that if by default you instill the expectation that people need to deliver, they need to perform, to be part of the group, then it's possible. But if it's not basically instilled in the company from the founders, from the beginning, then it's probably not going to appear on its own.
Grete, do you agree with that, or do you have anything else in mind?
Yes, and I also think the more informal culture you have, the harder it is to instill this feeling that the people need to deliver and perform. I think it's one of our problem in uplifting that we are constantly solving, is that with this freedom that we have within the company comes also a great amount of responsibility, and not everyone in the company realizes that. Of course, that maybe comes a little bit from me, that I should be much more like setting the expectations, like what's expected. So maybe part of that is on me, but part of that is on the, let's say, the extreme level of free culture that we have compared to, let's say, more traditional companies. So I only agree with that, and I think that the more friendlier you are trying to make the place, the more you need to think how you are communicating and telegraphing the need the need to deliver, and how you are kind of keeping that expectation up.
Mm-hmm. How do you deal with that actually? Do you have like the one-to-ones with the people who are not performing well, or how do you deal with the situation when your colleagues, which are also your friends in some manner?
Yeah, we usually solve it through one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. And now we are kind of looking into whether we could have some more standardized approach how to lead, for example, those one-on-ones, how to set those goals. But the thing is, as a software delivery company, every project is unique. Every project is, it's not for us. It's not a problem in the software delivery side, because that's usually tightly controlled in some Scrum process or something like that. So the underperforming is very visible and very early caught on. But all the supporting roles within the company, that's sometimes hard to set the expectations of what needs to be delivered. Do not feel like this is a grinding house of meeting KPIs. So
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Marek, what do you think? How is your relationship with friendship versus performance?
Maybe if I step in, because I was there when you won the Fast 50 award, and I'm not sure if it was you or your co-founder, but you said to the live stream to guys like, we did a good job, but in the morning we will meet at the office and we will work again. So maybe it looks like part of your culture, having the performance there.
Well, of course, I think that freedom and friendship has to be there if you want to have type of companies we are having or working in. But it comes with the delivery. You need to get the delivery, so then you can have all of this. And about this one thing you're mentioning, because previous year when we won, they had like celebrations with fireworks and stuff, and we received some bill from the landlord and so on. And next day was pretty much empty office. Everybody was celebrating. Me and Otakar, we were in the office and nobody there. So we had to a little bit remind that tomorrow is another day. But I believe that the friendship and the freedom is actually key part of the culture. And then people are like genuinely motivated to work on it. Mm-hmm. And it's completely different than if some bossy guy is telling you that you need to deliver your KPIs till Friday midnight or you cannot go home. It's I've never experienced such a thing. I've never had to actually. I feel differences between those founding guys. They were with us, those first 20, first 50 people. They were actually growing with the company, with the product. It's a little bit different than when you are hiring 161st guy. You need to work more with these newcomers, but I think that's the goal, to work with them so you can maintain the level of the friendliness, freedom, and great culture for people.
Actually, thank you for mentioning the newbies and for the onboarding process. It is often said that the onboarding and hiring, it's the place where some kind of company culture starts, actually. Do you have any kind of special processes to make the onboarding easier, to make your company culture shine even throughout the hiring process?
We have even pre-onboarding.
Wow.
I was like surprised. Cool stuff. So basically you receive a lot of information before you even start. Then on the day you are starting, you have like welcome package of merch and some like informations, who is who and what you should do and so on. And I think this like first day care on this onboarding care is very important. I still believe there is a lot of we can improve, and we are constantly receiving feedbacks and asking for the feedback, because I think it's crucial when someone joining the company, their first feelings are very important to start the bond with the company. So for us it's very important topic.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me talk about communication, because when you are sitting by one table with 20 people, it's easy to tell them the vision and tell them what you are going to do. If there's at the table 2,000 people, how you do it?
I think that communication is actually the essence of success to a good company culture, especially in a fast-changing environment. And like I mentioned earlier, it's about setting expectations, and especially from the founders, being able to picture where am I going, what the company is supposed to look in 5 years, what it means by the end of this year, and being able to translate this clearly to the team so that they can take ownership of the different parts and basically contribute to getting the company there, so that you don't have to tell them, this is your KPI, you must do this, but they know, okay, if we want to be there, this is how our team will be building with other teams. And for me, what I really liked for this purpose are OKRs, the objective key results, which help to sort of build a puzzle for the company so that each employee can find their own piece and see where it fits in the overall goal, where we are going, what we're building. And so yeah, that's something I find really important. And finding a right rhythm depending on the given size of sharing this information with the team, so that, for example, quarterly, making sure that everyone understands the OKRs, having the monthly team meetings like all hands or town halls and so on, and having a right structure of information sharing.
Mm-hmm. And this is like a startup kitchen, so maybe if we can give a recipe to, for example, how to do the meetings. Like, do you have any rituals, like frequency, like all hands and this kind of stuff? Like, how often you communicate with the people and this kind of stuff?
So the all hands, they should be at least monthly. If the company is going through a massive change or a challenging process, it can be even more often. The key is to keep people informed and engaged so that they understand what's going on, what's happening now, what will happen in a month, so that you can pick up on that next month. So that would be definitely a good start, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Raja, how often do you have all hands?
Wow.
And how does it look like?
We have all hands much less often. We do 2 to 3 all hands per year, but for example, all of our board meetings are publicly streamed into the company with all the decisions that we are taking there. So for example, there's a lot of like on-demand information that you can kind of pull from the company, including, for example, bank accounts and what we are paying and for what. So if the people want the information, they can get it, but we are not pushing it kind of out as much as maybe other companies with closed door policy on a lot of the stuff that we normally have open within the company. But to be honest, I think we should increase the frequency of all hands at least once a quarter to get more communication. And also what kind of worked for a very long time was something that we called frontman stand-ups, where basically each month I've written basically like a confession of a frontman to the company, what I've done for the company and what was the direction. I written it in the Slack into the general channel, and kind of like, this is the outstanding issues of our culture, of our operations, this is how we are solving them, this is the most interesting clients we are working for example, this is what. And then what I've mentioned there always from culture perspective was this section, Heroes of Uplifting, and I personally gave like I basically asked my leaders who should we celebrate each month, and we kind of did this like Heroes of Uplifting every month, and up to, let's say, 120 people, it worked pretty great. So maybe for it.
It's interesting. How do you communicate in FTMO to keep people updated?
We should improve that, I believe. Or I think that's the spot we should improve, or it might be better. We have like 2 all hands a year, pretty much summer and winter, I would say. Operations, they are having like weekly calls. It's pretty much stand-up format, but it's like for 60 to 80 people, led by COO. And then the other departments, we are trying to streamline the information from top down, so through the team leaders and so on. Sometimes we are even like questioning whether all hands formats are good for right now the situation we are having. I can imagine that if you are doing like a crazy transformation and you are really changing A to Z pretty much every week. It's very important to have these all hands quite frequently. But in our position, we have like long-term projects. Some of them we cannot even communicate right now, so we are not, doing some confusions and so on. So this is a topic for us: how to properly communicate to everyone, so they know what's happening, they know what's their role, and so on.
And what's the percentage of like in-person communication and online communication? Because the COVID changed like all this kind of stuff. So are people still in the office?
Yeah, we are like constantly thinking about the offices, because few days a week it's completely full. I'm always trying to find some spots for my IT guys. Friday, I don't know what's going on Friday, but
Home office.
Friday home office day. I'm fighting against that. But I think that after COVID, everybody was very happy to come back to the office and work together. This is something which we like a lot. But on the other hand, I can imagine that for certain roles, you need to have your focus time. And it's quite okay when some positions are working from home from time to time.
Okay, great. And to the communication, like the year 2023 was for startups. Like it wasn't a happy year for startups. A lot of layoffs happened and a lot of unpleasant things happened. I discussed with some founders who had to do some layoffs, and also we did. And nobody was happy with how they communicated it and how they did it. I think you went through a lot of changes in Groupon. And how to properly communicate something what is unpleasant so the people do not lose them.
It's always difficult, in this sense, Groupon has a lot of experience, because once upon a time it even had 10,000 people. It went through many rounds of layoffs, but whichever type of reduction we do now, we try to be as much upfront and clear about it as we can, because in some countries you have to negotiate with the work councils and so on. It gives you lots of limitations. So you can't really say upfront, okay, we are laying off these 100 people. You need to first go through the legal motions, and then as much as possible say like the reasons behind it, and so on. Like in our case, the justification was quite clear, especially to the rest of the team, that basically if we stayed the way we were 1 year ago, the company wouldn't be here for anyone today. So we needed to make difficult decisions. And I think it's fair to share this type of reasoning with the team, regardless of the situation. It doesn't have to be so dramatic, so difficult, like really you're at the end of bankruptcy. But basically this is what it is. Like the company's gotten to a certain stage. Now maybe we need to trim the size a little bit, because the business has evolved over the few years and the environment around us changes constantly. Now take the AI that simplifies many aspects. You have new roles in the teams that work with this type of tool, and it replaces other people, and some are not possible to retrain to the new roles. So you constantly have to adjust the company. It can't be a fixed state, and that's where it becomes very difficult when it's the friendship culture, because you need to be able to say, we are a business, we want to be friendly, but we are a business. We have our purpose of being is making money. And so if at the end of the day we have this member of the team who is a great entertainer, he's super fun, everyone loves him, but he's not a really good performer, and the company needs to now adjust the sizing, this is what we need to do. And it needs to be very clearly communicated to the team.
Thank you. Bratia, how do you tell the ugly truth to the people?
Yeah, we didn't completely fend off this wave of negativity on the market last year. So we also had a little bit of layoffs, and what we tried, it was super hard in the kind of informal culture that we had, but we stick to the rule of we be very honest. Why are you doing it? Is it a performance layoff, or is it basically there's not enough job for everyone, kind of a layoff? Separate those two if possible. That was so that the people know why they are let go, basically. And then, behind kindly to the human beings that are the colleagues that are leaving you. We for example, stick to all of our, we offer proper severance payments. We help them to find a new job. We as a founders, we try to put ourselves in the shoes of people leaving, and what can we do to do that the transitions as smooth as possible. And to be honest, like my co-founder Philip handled most of it, because my task was being focused on bringing new business in, but I know that he posted a lot of personal recommendations for every one of those people that we can vouch for, so that they can find a job as quickly as possible. So I think and like for us, one thing was very much more easier is because we are look at our bank statement, look at the balances, look at the cash flow. We cannot keep doing this, right? So this was super easy to kind of get everyone on the same boat, that we cannot continue because the data was public within the company.
Thank you. Marek, we are just growing, everything is sunshine, right?
Yeah, I will be more optimistic. We had no layoffs. If anyone is open to work, check out ftmo.com. We are hiring. So pretty much I have nothing to share. I don't have these experiences, and I'm
pretty happy that you have such an experience.
I am also happy about it, because
we need more companies like this.
It needs to be super hard, because I really take those guys as my friends. And as Lucka said, in the end of the day, it's a business. So even if we are friends, we need to do the right thing for business, and this needs to be tough job. And luckily, I was not in that role yet.
And are you happy with all of your hires?
More or less.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to more pleasant subject. Our main vision at StartupJobs now is that people should always move forward within their careers or in their lives in general, actually. How do you ensure that your employees are always improving their skills? How do you make them grow and learn more and perform better? Such.
So I had a learning curve with this topic myself, because when we were growing Kiwi, someone was an agent for 3 weeks, and we had another batch of 30 agents. So there you go, you're a team leader now, without any training. And so after a while, we started to see that it doesn't exactly work. So we had to fix that, and with time and with proper HR, you start building the academies and basically frameworks for people to grow to the next stage of the role. We're addressing it even now in Groupon, because as we have cut a lot of positions, the team is quite reduced, so many people had to step up. So we're assigning between teammates coaches, so that they can basically coach them upwards. Even for the possibility of if someone has to be promoted for a new role, because the company will be transforming, will be evolving. So the really talented people, they need to basically reassign to something else. We need to have their successors in place. And so that basically everyone in our team, for example, we're setting the succession plan so that everyone is training their own successor so that this person can step up.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much, because we are running out of time. So one last and very quick question. If you should mention one thing in company culture that you should focus on, what it should be?
I think it's communication, and especially in the growing environment, the frequency also was important in our case in Kiwi, for example, because there was dozens of people joining every month. So basically each time there was new people, new audience you are speaking to. Similarly in Groupon's case, a month is a very long time in the transformation, so many things are happening. There's always topics to share with the team, important topics. So the communication and making sure that you always maintain the tone that you want to set, because the CEO is sort of the mascot, repeating why we are here, what we're doing, what's the purpose of the company, and making sure that all of the new hires keep hearing it, because the fact that you say it once is not enough. You feel stupid repeating it, but it's actually important. So.
Okay, Bratia, what do you think is the most crucial thing while building company culture?
Yeah, to keep it fair, keep it real, and to find another beacons of culture besides you, and to cultivate those people so that they can transmit that culture to other people. Because as you grow, the culture will dilute within the company. You have to identify those that will help you to keep the culture flame still alight.
Perfect, thank you. And Marek, one last question for you. What do you think, what is the most important?
I would share our core value, and that's fairness. I think that's super important even for the culture, because it's pretty much we are building it on this value, and it's very important trying to be fair to our colleagues, clients, partners, pretty much everyone in the business. And I think this is very important. And for me, the best feedback we got is that it's not only fairness value in my head or on some slide, but it's actually proved from the colleagues that they feel it. So I would mention this one, fairness.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's all for today. I thank very much our speakers, Lucka, Bratia, and Marek. Thank you very much for coming.